Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, what a day. I mean, it deserves two of them because rarely do you get to see the Qs go up that much in one day. And of course, it was super Jerome Powell to the rescue. And that's what we kind of thought. But truth is, had nothing to do with Jerome Powell. This thing, and that's why I said I'm watching the futures closely, ran up overnight. I think I played it till midnight and then I had to go to bed. And I don't like just leave orders open. So, but it ran up once the midnight session started, especially around 1:30. Boom, see you later, right? Then we got econ data. Jobs data came in, what was it, weaker than expected. The job numbers were less, but then, of course, the costs were more. Not like the market cared. They're like, whatever, and then away we went. So we were already up 3% by the time Jerome opened his mouth. So it did not matter. And then we'll get into, what happened to small caps because they sold off like crazy after you got done talking right there. Also, we'll go some other stocks you guys asked about, but I'll put some at the end, which might make your life a whole lot easier, okay? And we'll talk about something else that if you watch this channel, you won't miss it because I'll try to cover this kind of stuff for you. But, if you don't, then obviously, maybe you can take something away from this because there's something that happened on one of the big mega caps, which we kind of talked about last night, and I'll show you the difference today versus yesterday, and a lot of people just miss it. They won't even never know what happened. You'll be talking to them, and you'll say this happened, they'll go, that never happened, right? Because they only look at a chart one way. And let's go ahead and start off with the S&P 500. Good day for it, not like the Qs, but when this one moved up here and gapped up, you can see it filled that gap right there where that shaded box is we put here on Sunday, filled it to the penny. Started selling down after that, and so we'll take that box away because that gap is filled. So remember, I don't care if it's a stock, index, whatever, they get in those gaps, they're going to move fast. And so when you look here, we're also going to bring up what? The 5-day moving average, because we had talked about that. It's the first thing you need, right? Got the gap up, 5 days curling back up now, so we're above the 5-day moving average. We're above that ascending trend line once again. And I don't believe, we got one full candle body below it about 4 days ago. But the big question is, like, which way is this thing going to actually move and stuff? And so, if we continue bullish into tomorrow or for the rest of the week, which will be Thursday and Friday, and then maybe in the next week because we are coming to a bullish month right here, then, we'll see if we're going to end up moving up towards that trend line. I'm not sure if we're going to break that trend line. That's what we got to see. It's the next thing I'm going to be watching to see if we actually break that trend line. If not, get rejected there. Again, depends on where we're at in August right here. Could see something like that. Who knows when that's going to happen because, again, September is not great. So now you're on like a 30-day clock to see what's going to happen here. In August, we start that tomorrow. We just ended July, okay? Now, breadth, you may not have known this yesterday, but even though the SP was red yesterday, we still had like 385 stocks out of 500 green. What do we have today? A new all-time high on RSP. So breadth is good. Breadth, this is what I was talking about, I think it was last week, let's see if, as this Qs were selling off and all this tech was selling off, let's see if the breadth improves. It's amazing how it just comes in when they need it. And there you go, right? So if you're seeing a new high on the RSP, a new all-time high, that means other stocks are being bought up, right? And one sector to watch, especially for those who are looking for a market downturn, like a big one, is going to be XLF, right? It's kind of a telltale sign. It's where the companies get their money. It's where we get our money and stuff. And when you look, as the Q's been selling off, what was XLF doing? It was running up. Kind of sold down a little bit, and now it's sitting there. Who knows if that's going to be a double top? Probably not. But we'll see, right? But the reason I'm talking about this is, if you're one of these people expecting a recession or whatever it is, or a big downturn, you can see XLF, it runs up nicely, but it usually rolls over before that ever happens, okay? They'll start tightening those purses very quickly. This is what causes a recession, by the way. You can't get money, right? And companies can't get money to expand. So, and if you're wondering about XLF, what you're looking at here, JP Morgan Chase, biggest bank, I think, in the world. And then remember Visa, we talked about Visa, missing earnings, kind of warning about that. MasterCard, I got to look back into. I forgot, I don't know if they reported a day or they reported and I missed it. But American Express is also 8 on the list. So the top 10 stocks make up 58%, I believe, of this one. It has a boatload of stocks, but just top 10 make up over half of it. So, those are the important ones: Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all those good things. Now, QQQ, you can see, as we talked about, it's fishy being sitting down here on this line right here at the bottom of the channel. It seems like every time it gets down there, what do? They buy it up. Now, it is sitting right there. Got rejected at the 50 moving average. That's about the only thing that stopped this day because I think 3.25 was maybe the high percentage-wise. So it was just a massive move because of semiconductors and not even so much the Mag 7. They were okay. But one in particular was unbelievable, which we'll talk about. in just a minute. We'll go ahead and mark out this gap right here, because if it gets in that gap and gets above that 50, it's going to explode right there up to around like 479, 480 right there, I believe it is. And when you look at its breadth, not as good as the S&P, right? Not the RSP here. This is the QQEW. And what a candle that is. I'm on indecision right there. Boy, look at those wicks. But again, this right here filled a gap, started selling back down, and not as good as the RSP. And so we'll see if this one can get up there. It's nowhere near a new all-time high after this sell-off right here. And so again, S&P, that's why you've seen the S&P in the morning time most days is stronger than the Qs. We'll see if they're going to revert back to that. I need to see if they start bringing money out of IWM, because IWM was running up really good after Jerome opened his mouth. Wasn't doing that great before that, as you can see. I mean, and it ended up setting for this year a new all-time, or not an all-time high, but a new high, right? Still ain't got the all-time highs yet, but it got around 226.35, and then just, man, as soon as you stop talking, sold back down. Where it's basically sitting at right now is right above that trend line. So we get to see, I'm going to take this one away. Again, 5-day moving average is curling up. We'll see if this trend line is going to hold, or it's going to end up breaking back down, and they're going to rotate into the mega caps. That's what we got to see. It seems like having both these go up at the same time has been just brutal, right? Now, Nvidia here, we're going to get off the 5-day, because the only thing that matters for me with Nvidia is the 21 SMA. It wrote it. I'll show you where it wrote it up on the last two run-ups. It hadn't got above that right now. Still's got to get above that, but it did close above this channel, not a full candle body, which is what I like to see. But, you know, it did close above it, and they're running it up in after hours. Okay, so most likely we will get that candle close above. Now, this one right here, I want you to keep in mind, this thing ran up 15%. You understand? It's not a $3 trillion market cap stock anymore. It's $2.9 trillion. But still, for a market cap of that size, I can't remember Apple or Microsoft or any of them for that matter that's sitting around 3 trillion market cap running up that much. I mean, it was unbelievable. But and after, as I told you, 95 to 100, if it gets down that area, there's going to be major buyers. And boom, boy, did they buy it up. And they bought it up hard, especially last night and after hours, and just pushed this thing up. It opened up around, I think it was like 110 already when we opened up. And so they'd already pushed it up $10. And so again, now it's outside that channel. Next step is to get above the 21 SMA. If that happens, it is bullish. Okay, how far that goes, we'll have to see, because we're in that seasonality for semiconductors. That's usually not good till around end of October, but we're in what? The AI pump. It's all about the AI. Everybody's listening to Microsoft and everything, talking about how much more money they're spending, and that's what's really pushing Nvidia up, because we need to buy more chips, Microsoft is, and all that fun stuff, right? And so again, the shaded areas, what I'd watch right here. There's gaps galore to be filled and stuff. So if this does open up big tomorrow and it gets near that gap right there, it's absolutely going to run from 119 to around 122 pretty fast, because it's going to be in that gap. It's going to fly right through it. And if that happens, the 21 SMA will be somewhere near that area, right? So you might see a rejection. You might not. That's what we're going to have to make out. Now, AMD, some people say, wow, what happened to this one, man? It opened up huge, came back down, filled the RTH gap, sold off like 9% or something before Jerome opened his mouth. Well, what happened was it hit the 200 moving average, right? I mean, it got slapped down quickly, okay, by 9%. And so again, it still ended up 5% a day, so that was good. But that's your challenge. You say, what's the next level we got to hit? You got to get above 200 moving average. It's a moving average, so that number is going to change. But anywhere from like 153, 154, right? You got to get above that. That'll get you above the 200. That is the key. Remember, you don't have to have a test. And remember we talked about the retest, whether there's rejection or not. And so watch this one carefully. See, because obviously that's a huge rejection. But if it gets above it, it does not have to retest to keep going higher, okay? But it still has the 50 and the 100 to get to as well. And when you look at the margins between NVIDIA and AMD, I was looking at it because I posted in the Discord with these income statements. Like, it's not even close. I mean, it's not even close. Like, NVIDIA's margins are enormous, okay? Going from gross margins all the way to profit margins. And AMD, gross margin, and then all of a sudden it just shrinks galore going down, right? And it's still not even nowhere near close. I mean, it's not even close, but it's just funny to watch the margin difference in what these guys are producing in their business and stuff. And that's why NVIDIA, I think, does what NVIDIA does in the chart. And that's why I think AMD's chart looks like it does. But it is not a good company to own or anything. So, and thank you guys for telling me the CEO's name. I really appreciate it. Now I know from now on in. Anyway, going to Microsoft, you can see it had, well, you can't see it on here, but it had a huge recovery from last night's drop. Now, of course, a lot of people are going to be like, wow, you know, it never even hit the 200 moving average. So there's going to be people that are thinking they're going to try to wait for this 200 moving average to get in because it's so close and everything. What they don't realize is Well, it did hit the 200 moving average. This is what we were talking about last night, right? It hit it in after hours. You see down at the bottom, right? This is the daily, right? You can't get any extended trading hours. You go to the 4 hour. When you go to the 4 hour, it's the 200 is at the exact same level. You see it right there between 401, 402, and it came below the 200 moving average. And when you go to the smaller time frames, you can see it came back up on that 15 minute. It retested it. It got rejected multiple times, right? But we'll show you that in just a minute. But you can see on the daily, you don't see that, okay? It just like it got so close. And so when you go down the 15 minute, you can clearly see where it came back up, retested multiple times on that 200 moving average, got rejected, and then broke above. Never retested after it got back above it, which it does not have to, okay? And it exploded. As soon as it made it through the 200, it absolutely exploded through the 200, and then kept going and was only down like 1.3% at one point in time today. I think that's where it closed. And so magnificent recovery there. The big thing was their cloud revenue had decreased some, but they increased CapEx, which is why a lot of people started buying up Nvidia, okay, in after hours. And so again, this trend line right here will be resistance around like 430, 431, I believe, right there. And so just watch that one because it goes back pretty far, actually. I mean, somewhere like January 2023. And so it respects it, so it should be resistance on the way back up. Now, looking at PayPal here, I just want to bring this one back up because it did make it above. After getting rejected, it made it above this trend line. It's sitting right on top of the trend line right now, okay? So it is above all its moving averages. And so this one, if it continues to move up, you know, look for around 68 first because that's the one that's been a beast. It's only got through 68 one time, okay? And the one thing that is happening with PayPal is, you can see right here, either a lot of agencies came out with a maintain or a price upgrade. Okay, that always helps you, you know, break through resistance and things like that. So again, we'll see. And a lot of the prices aren't like super high or anything, so don't seem to be a whole lot of confidence going there. But you know, it definitely helps. Now looking at Shop, you can see it moved up about a 3% day, but still, one of you guys was asking about this, so that's why I'm covering it. Not above that trend line, okay? So it got rejected off that resistance / trend line right there. This goes back to October of 2022. So a nice long trend line going on there. So it's resistance, right? That area right there. If it does get above, you're sitting right there at the 50. It's got to get through. You get above that, again, as a trend line I have drawn across as a resistance, it's going to be resistance. So there's going to be a boatload of resistance coming up in here. So it needs to have like some news event to really push through, okay? That's what Shop needs. Now, some of you guys may ask me about the competition for crowds. We talked about this, them getting sued and all that fun stuff, so who knows where that's going. And you can kind of see, like, you would think there'd be a shift, but not really. The other cybersecurity stocks hasn't moved up. And again, we won't know who's trying to jump ship because, you know, we won't know till earnings, right? Maybe when we hear from Datadog and PanW and all the rest of them, Sentinel or something, maybe they'll let us know something on that before crowd reports. But again, I mean, crowd's been destroyed compared to the rest of them. It's just a mess. And so Sentinel one's up about 9% in the last month, so it's been moving pretty decent. Now, earnings, you got Crocs, ConocoPhillips, and then the big boys, Amazon, Apple, Intel, Coinbase, DraftKings, Roku, Block, Marathon Digital, Bookings Holdings, boy, Mercado Libre, and then before opening bell, unemployment claims. And then after the bell, you have a lot of manufacturing data for PMI and prices coming out, construction spending. Now, the problems at the end here, there are a few things that will definitely calm your nerves in the market or make you feel even more confident when you're buying into something, okay? And again, some people just say, no, I'm going to look strictly at the chart. I'm going to go strictly off this, whatever it is. But there's really like 3 things to add in, 4 things really want to think about it. And you know, the big thing is, one, financial conditions. What's going on, right? Are they loosening or are they staying steady? Another is going to sit here and be, and this is that chart off there. It talks about risk, credit, and leverage, right? Another thing is your liquidity. If it's steady and not decreasing a lot, the market's going to love it, okay? The other one's going to be HYG. These are your junk bonds. And so that's going to be key right there. And because the junk bonds are doing good, the rest of the bond market should be doing just fine. And if we end up scrolling down, you can see what else we got here is your sentiment, right? Where is the breadth? Where is the sentiment? Okay, are we in fear? Are we in super greed? If you're in extreme greed, that's not when you want to be trying to buy, right? The market's most likely going to roll over soon. Right now, we're sitting in neutral, and then we're in greed at the top right here. This top one gives you the percentage of stocks. So it'd be 64% of stocks are in an uptrend, right, and above their 6-month moving average, I believe it is, versus CDN Fear and Greed Index goes with a lot of other stock, which is at 46, neutral. And then your breadth what percentage of stocks above the 200 moving average. I'm actually going to start adding back in the 50 on this. I used to track that because that's more shorter term. But you can see when you got between 63 and 77%, that's not bad, right? It kind of lets you know where stocks are standing and everything. And then another one, which I like, which it really does exist, is knowing what the seasonality you're going into is, right? Like what happens in August during a presidential election, what was going to happen in July and June and all this other stuff. And so that will help you understand, because a lot of people are like, I don't understand how the market keeps going up. I don't understand how the market keeps going up. These things matter. Another one's the flows. That's why I bring Jim Cameron in here, and I always mess his name up. But because he does the flows. I bring Tom Lee on here because he don't have, leprosy right now. Like, Mike Wilson, you don't see him on here. You don't see no interviews. Like, he actually retired, because Tom Lee has the hot hand, right? The flows, gentlemen, Jim has the hot hand, right? And flows do matter big time. And so it's that kind of stuff. Like, just knowing and being aware of those things can help you make a rational decision, right? Instead of being fear-based or just listening to some person on Twitter or something, whatever it is. And so those things are important, man. So just want to put that out to you. That's where we're at, right? And so just want to share that with you. Let me know what you think in the comments about that kind of stuff. I always enjoy reading what you guys think and stuff. But anyway, hope you guys got something out of it. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you want to sign up for the membership and get stuff like that and private videos. You can sign up down at the bottom right there and less than a McDonald's combo. And I do that for a reason. So anyway, have a good one. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Feel free to put questions for Saturday's video in the bottom as well. See you later.